Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is about the stress and exercise. At the end of this lesson, you are supposed to number one, identify what stress is and determine from which sources today's exactly come from. Number two, determine the body's general adaptations and reactions to certain or numerous stressors internally and externally. Number three, discover preventive measures to take in dealing with life stressors and some stress management activities that would contribute to wellness. Number four, associate exercise as an integral part of stress management. And number five, develop activities that would inhibit coping to different types of stressors. So, let's start. There are times that we feel so worried or we feel stressed in a certain thing. And doing properly breathing or deeply breathing can help us to reduce that kind of stress. Stress is defined as non-specific response of the body to the demand made upon it. So it is in order to maintain the physiological equilibrium or balance, or let's say it is for survival. And stressors are defined as anything that places greater than routine demand on the body, or something that evokes a stress reaction, or let's say something that causes a state of strain or tension. We have two types of stress. The first one is what we call eustress or the positive stress, stress that is mentally or physically stimulating. So a very good example of this is when you are setting goals for yourself. To be specific, goal setting, especially in fitness, can bring about excitement and thrill. Eustress is anything that gives you a euphoric state or let's say state of fullness, and it is something that makes you feel good and happy about a particular situation. While when we talk about distress, it is a negative stress or it can contribute to the health problems. These are the ones that make you feel the opposite about yourself. This is the type of stress that brings you into a negative physical and mental state. And people who are exposing to too much stress or distress lack the motivation to push on with what they are doing. And it is important for us to have homeostasis or a condition in which the body is stable or in equilibrium. This is the physiological state that the body should always aim to achieve. What this simply means is that you are free from any form of ailments or diseases. While when we say GAS or GAS, the General Adaptation Syndrome, we have here three. The alarm reaction, or let's say it is the first stage. And this is actually refers to any physical or mental trauma that will trigger an immediate set of reaction for your body to combat stress. Then the second one is resistance. So eventually, or let's say sometimes, ratherly quickly, we adapt to stress and we actually have a tendency to become more resistant to fatigue. Then exhaustion. Let's say that during this stage, it is very hard to get back on track and to get your focus all over again because you have already expended so much energy and nothing is left as a reserve. Also, during this state, the body experiences a drop in its resistance level because it can no longer maintain the homeostasis. So where it is coming from, we have here the stress overload or too many stressors that may lead to high demands on time and the feeling of not being in control. It would become easier for you to avoid this from happening if you know how to identify your stressors. We have three types of stressors. The first one is the environmental stressors. And these stressors are found within your immediate surroundings. then you cannot escape from them because it is basically anything that you found around you or you find around you. Example, heat, noise, overcrowding, climate, terrain, and traffic. So these are what we call environmental stressors. And the only way to get yourself out, or the only way you can get yourself out of these environmental stressors is to learn how to accept them. Then we have the physiological stressors brought on the body by, or let's say, the substance use and abuse that we already mentioned before. We have drugs, alcohol, tobacco, and these things can bring you diseases and infection in the body. Anything that creates an imbalance in your body's homeostasis is considered as physiological stressor. Then we have the emotional stressors, also known as psychosocial stressors. Most frequent stressors that comes or that affects everyone. Troubling thoughts, life-changing events, and excessive things to do. When you are constantly bombarded by thoughts that are too negative, it's hard to physically move your body and think of the next step to do. These stressors are part of our life and they are inevitable. Sometimes the only thing you need to do to manage your stress is to find the time to pause and be quiet. This way you can be able to calm and prepare yourself and to be ready for the next new and excitement challenges of life. There are two levels or severity of stressors. We have the major stressors require tremendous amount of adjustments. So it is actually the example of this are personal crisis, major health problems, death in the family, separation, financial problem, legal problems, or let's say the job or school related pressures. The second one is minor stressors or short-term stressors that may accumulate. So these stressors are generally viewed as something that occurs in a shorter term or in a less severe gravity compared to major stressors. Some examples of minor stressors are traffic hassles, peer or work relations, time pressure, and sometimes petty family arguments. Unlike the major stressors that may cause severe disruptions in your daily routine, minor stressors only take little time to solve or to deal with. So here are some other factors, the age. So as we grow up, nag-iiba-iba ang problema ng isang tao. And it is up to you how mature you can manage and handle the situation at any point or any stage in your life. Second, we have financial problems, schoolwork, and job-related activities. While third are negative, ambiguous, and uncontrollable events such as experiencing a death of a loved one, being evicted, having your house burned to the ground. These are all probably the hardest and most stressful form of situations a person may find himself or let's say herself. Physical effects of stress. So inefficient heart function, or in short, your body cannot function well, cannot perform the tasks that you should do. Second, we have mental and emotional effects of stress. You can have anxiety. So this feeling is characterized as having a feeling of apprehension and also post-traumatic stress disorder. So this is a condition which refers to the psychological trauma brought about by uncontrollable effects. Third, there are behavior, let's say unnecessary behavior such as nail biting, poor eating habits, lack of sleep, or let's say sleep disorders, reduced outlook and life possibility or positivity, engaging in destructive habits, and being ill-tempered. Stress and immune system. So excessive stress reduces the effectiveness of your immune system. Your immune system is your body's natural shield when infection or diseases invades. Examples, the bacteria, virus, parasites, diseases, and others. Some of these things are also responsible in filtering the toxins within your body and in helping you to recover from taking in certain forms of medical treatments. So the problem is not stressful until you recognize it to be. So stressors by themselves generally do not cause problems unless they are perceived or appraised as stressful. The more that you recognize the problem, the more you perceive it to be stressful, and the more that will become a source of your unhappiness and discontentment. So the best way to do is always maintain an optimistic view of things, even if you find yourself under stressful situations. Then time management, it is important for us to avoid rushing or to avoid some form of stress. The first thing you're going to do is to know your priority or prioritize things. What do I value most in life? Establishing priorities or setting a goal. Step 2, monitoring. Where do I spend my time? Daily log of actual time expenditures. Step 3, analyzing. What activities can I spend time less on? What can I do to reduce the time spent in my activities? And last step, make a schedule. What to do and when to do it. Write it down or use a technology for you to be reminded of your schedule. We also have the free time, play, recreation, and leisure. When you say free time, so the time is not committed for work or other duties. In short, you are free from responsibility. So you can go to salon for your self-pampered, have, or let's say make up with friends, bonding with family, or whatever you wanted to do, then you can do it and spare your free time. While recreation is more meaningful time that shift your attention and focus into different avenue in your life. Or these are like the activities that makes you relax and makes you reduce your stress. So it can be physical activities such as sports, and also it can be in a form of sitting down or just reading, writing, watching TV, and others. So the way or the activity you want to do for you to relax. And leisure, a habit that you fit into the schedule to spice things up. These are things that you want to do and some possible habits that you fit into your schedule to break the monotony of your strict schedule. While play is something you do on your own free will, or let's say it is your cheat day. It is intrinsically it is rewarding yourself or giving a motivation to yourself. Next is all about the social support and stress management. So social support together with proper time management will help you to get past your stressors easily. So there are three components: the informational support, or the way you share your knowledge with others; material supports, it can be a source, or let's say it can be a form of material or things; and financial. While emotional support is where you get encouragement or sympathy from someone to help you get through your challenge. And vice versa, you can be also a support to other people. A person's constantly changing cognitive and psychologically efforts to manage stressful situation. problem focus, emotion focus, appraisal focus, and we have here the avoidant, and distorted thinking. The first one is the problem focus, changing the source or the cause of stress. So the first thing you're going to do is to find the problem and try to have or to do a solution. Next is emotion focused coping. So this is the type of coping involves focus and positivity. Emotion focused coping is a strategy in coping where a person regulates his or her emotion based on the current stressful situation he is facing that time. While appraisal focus, so it is the way you adopt, or let's say the adapting to stress that is based on changing your perceptions of stress and finding resources of means of coping. And the distorted thinking, negative or automatic thinking, and avoidant coping, seeking immediate or temporary relief from stress through distractions and self-indulgence. How about the brain and exercise? So the first one, regular physical activity leads to more efficient physiological conditions. Exercise is meditation in motion. So jogging, walking, running, or playing other forms of sports can provide relief from stress because these are activities that are enjoyable. Then third, exercise improves your mental health and overall disposition. So it is linked to reduce anxiety, depression, and excessively changing behaviors. And don't forget that whenever you try to set your goals, always use the SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So this way, it could help you to achieve your goals. That's all for our lesson. Thank you so much.